Good morning, guys. MWUSA Season 4, Episode 151. Yesterday, I went to my daughter's softball game, which she did great. She hit her first home run yesterday, which was awesome, and I got it on video. Man, that girl is so fast. The video of her hitting the home run, from the time that video started to her hitting the home run and being at home base, was only 18 seconds. I think that's pretty fast. Anyway, before the game started, I sat in the car and just stayed cool because it was, like, over 100 with feels like temperature. And my car started kind of sputtering a little bit, and then it eventually stalled, and then I had a hard time starting it. And then got it started back up again, and then it started having problems again because it was sitting in one spot on grass, didn't have a lot of airflow around it. Cars on 3 of the 4 sides around me, so no airflow. All that heat coming out of the car, the heat all around, and the car not moving to cool off. So I took it for a drive, and it stalled out a couple times while I was driving, and I was pretty worried about it. But then when I got back to the fields and parked it and let it sit for a while, I haven't had any issues since. So should not be doing that with an older car. Have it sit in one spot like that with no ventilation around it in the heat with the air on max. So not the best idea. Anyway, today is Tuesday. Today is going to be a shorter day. I do have a meeting. I got to stop by home, pick up the laptop. I forgot. I just left home without the laptop that I need for the meeting. So I'll have to do that on the way to the meeting. So we're going to have at least one session going to casinos. I may play some poker tonight. Still undecided. Tomorrow is a huge day. But I wanted to tell you a story. So a friend of mine on Discord, asked if we could all tell our stories about our back-offs at our local casino and how they went down and things to look for and lessons learned, things like that. So I'm going to do that here, and hopefully you find it useful. So I'll try to be brief here because I could go like 4 hours about this 10-minute thing that happened. But so I was always really against casinos coming to my area, and I always voted against casinos coming to my area. And the reason is I had seen what it did to other people. There was a local underground poker thing that was going on where the rake was just sick. I mean, like $10 rake per hand, and people were playing limit 3-6, and then they had 2-5 also, and they raked $20. And then some of the people would double cut because they would take the rake twice because the dealer got a percentage of the rake. So people were just being abused and they were losing money. And I remember hearing some of the older guys that had been going there for 20 years laughing about it, saying, yeah, we'd go to the poker club, and they called it the Vegas nights at that point. Hey, we go to the Vegas nights and we'd each buy in for $200, and at the end of the night, all of us have $20 or less, and we wonder where all the money went. Well, we know where the money went. It went down the tubes to the house. And they had this lady running it, and when you bought in for 100, she marked down 10, and then she would donate a percentage of the 10 and say that she was helping the community and all that, and she would hire the local police. So she was pretty much untouchable. And I remember her saying that she made around $25,000 a month, joking a week, joking to her friends about how much money she was bringing in from this. And she lived in a nearby state originally, and she had money with all her family members in the state in different names so that they wouldn't be discovered. And she's long gone now. She died a long time ago, but the greed that's involved with that, she saw it as just no big deal. But people would come to her and they would pawn stuff to her or sell stuff to her so they could keep on playing, and she was just killing them at the tables. Before that, my first experience gambling, you could say I was 9, and my dad was talking to a friend of his, and his friend owned like a business that sold lottery tickets, and so he gave my dad a lottery ticket for me, and I scratched it off, and it was like $1 ticket, and it won $1, maybe $2. I think it was $2. And so he said, do you want the $2 or do you want 2 tickets? So I took the 2 tickets, and they both lost. And that was my first experience with gambling. So later on, when I was in high school, I learned that horse racing was legal. So actually, it was probably after I left high school, but right around the time I was 18, I went to the racetrack a few times, placed some $2 bets, and I thought that was pretty cool. And then as an adult, that developed into more than that. When I started making more money, I started spending more money, and casinos started springing up in nearby states, but not our state. So you'd have to drive some hours across the border to another state, or even into Canada. Some people would go that far just to gamble, and nobody would ever win. And I saw that early on. And then when poker started becoming popular, I started doing that online. Never did well on that. Then I started developing these concepts of how you can beat it. I'm like, what if you had 2 friends at the table? What if you had whatever? And that stuff, sometimes it would work, sometimes not, but overall it was still a negative EV proposition, so we didn't know how to execute any of that stuff. Poker clubs came to the area around 2007, and like legal poker clubs that were not underground, and started going to that, started learning more about the proper way to play and strategies. And I started hearing stories about people who would go to Vegas around the World Series of Poker time, and they would have satellite tournaments, and 3 or 4 of them would enter the one satellite, which was 9 seats, and one person would win, and they would all help each other out, have signals and all that, and they would clean up and win dozens of these things. And at that point you could sell them back, or you could sell them to another person, so it was easy to convert them to cash. And they would do that, and they would live off that, just going to Vegas and just doing that for that month or so, and they would make so much money doing that. So casinos were up on the ballot a couple times and failed, and then I think it was the 3rd or 4th time they were up on the ballot. The casinos offered the state more money. I think it was like, I don't know the numbers, but like 33 or 25% of the profit. And so I think a couple different casino companies worked together, and they put their money together, because before, like, one casino company would want the whole state, and the other casino companies would put ads on TV against gambling, and then the other one would do it, and the other casinos would put ads against it. Finally, all the casino companies came up and they said, okay, we're going to have this many casinos in the state, and they split it between themselves, and they all put their money behind it, and it passed. So casinos opened up. And the first, one of the first casinos that opened up was a racetrack, and I would go to that racetrack. I had stopped gambling there a long time before, and I said, well, now the casinos are here, I got to watch myself, because I don't want to lose all my money. So I would go to the racetrack, and they'd have slots there, and I would bring $20 with me, and only $20 with me, and I would play this game where you could not stop the reels, so you'd have to wait the full 5 or 6 seconds, whatever it is, for the reels to stop spinning, so your money would go slower. And I'd play the minimum 30 or 50 or 60, 40 cents, something like that, and then I would leave, and I had that under control. Then they opened up the casinos with the tables and stuff like that, and I started going there, and at first I was just getting crushed, and then I backed myself off. I said, I don't want to gamble anymore. So I backed myself off for a year and signed the paper that I wouldn't gamble. And then I came back, and I started noticing some people were winning and some people weren't. So I started learning some tricks and things And I developed a strategy where I would lose less. So I started looking into how to break even at the casino instead of how to win at the casino. And I developed some concepts. I had spreadsheets everywhere. I'm sure I can still find them if I look hard enough. And I started figuring out strategies to break even. So then I started thinking, well, what if when I'm ahead, I just leave? And when I'm behind, I try to grind it out. I set a limit to how much money I would lose, 2,000 or 1,000. I started doing that, and I started winning. At one point, I had 40 straight sessions where I broke even or made a little bit of money, even if it's $10, even if it's $50. And I would make no more than like 200 or 300, and I would leave. And that year, my loss for the year was only $2,000, and there was free play and other things involved in it too. So technically I started making money at that point. I still didn't understand how slots worked, but now I was developing how. And there was a game that came out, it was like a Harley Davidson game. I haven't seen it in like 10 years. I don't know if it even exists, but there was something about that game that I learned that made me understand that it was possible to make money off some of these games. And so I started having that in my mind, that instead of trying to break even, it might be possible to actually make money at the casino. Fast forward a while, casinos had been around for about 10 years. I was working at a company doing IT security. They had just bought a company in Australia, and they needed somebody to be available for those people in case they needed help overnight. So each of us would have 1 week that we would have to work in the office overnight. So at that point I was bored, nobody to talk to, cafeteria wasn't open, there was nothing to do. It was just me in the whole building, me and maybe like the security person downstairs, and that was it. So I started researching casinos, how to break even, how to win money at casinos. And the Blackjack Apprenticeship videos came up, and I started watching those, and I started learning. And I covered this in episode 1, so I don't want to go over all that part. But so I started going to my local casino, and I started winning. And I started doing my stop loss to keep it under the radar, $500, maybe $700, and I would leave. And that worked for a year. The problem with it was they knew who I was because I'd been playing rated for all those years. And so eventually when the win-loss statement came out, they were like, ruh-roh, Raggy, what's going on here, right? So actually before that even, there was a day where I was playing a double-deck table, and there was a drink machine on the opposite side of that wall. You'd have to go out on the main floor. There was a drink machine where you could get free soda there. And so it was the end of the shoe. I won the hand, and I jumped up and I ran around the corner. I got my drink and came back around so I wouldn't miss any hands. And the dealer hadn't put the new cards in. And I'm like, what's going on? And the dealer was like a nice dealer that I played with for a long time. I used to tip and all that stuff. And she said, if you get up, I don't have to pay you. Shut your face. Are you kidding me? The hand is over. Try to tell gaming that I'm not going to get paid. So the pit boss was another lady, and she was kind of bitchy about it. And I'm like, are you guys kidding me? All the years I've been coming here, all the money I've been giving you people. And at that point I had a strategy where I was starting break even more often. I was getting free food every single day, $30 free food, 30, 30, 30, 30, sometimes 60 free food. I get free buffets or free food every single day. So the next time I was in, that person was like typing in my bets every hand, that pit boss, and I was a little aggravated with her. Then the win-loss statement came out, and I noticed in the days that the win-loss statement came out maybe like 2 weeks after that. But in that 2 weeks, I had asked for free food one time, and this pit boss was new, and he looked at my record and he's like, man, we shouldn't be giving you free food. You're doing really good. And I said, yeah, but look at my entire history. I'm down a lot of money. And I feel like that was a trigger point. She was a trigger point. And then one of the next times I came in was when the day after the win-loss statement came out, or the day the win-loss statement came out, and I noticed my friend who I had met 20 years prior at a different casino in a different state because it had just become legal there. He was the manager of the casino in this area, and he was typing in my bets, and I knew what he was doing, and I knew my time was short, but I just played my normal game. I won my money, my 500, and I left. And the next time I came in, I remember I was up like 700, but the count was good, so I finished out the shoe. When I finished the shoe, I was only up about 550 or so. I could probably find it in my records. And security came up to me and said, "Can you step away from the table for a minute?" And I'm like, okay. I knew it was coming. And it was me and a younger kid, maybe barely 21, at the table. And they said, quote, "We don't like your game, so we're banning you for life." And I'm like, okay. "Gather your chips, we'll walk you to the cashier, and then you can't come back anymore." And I'm like, I started arguing with him. I'm like, why? I don't understand. I knew why, but I wanted to make a big deal in front of everybody because it was over. So what the heck? I might as well. Why? Why would you do that? What are you talking about? I'm a losing player overall and all this stuff. Just because I got lucky? You're banning me because I won a little bit of money? And this young kid saw me later on, and I talked about it in the podcast. He saw me at a different casino. He's like, "Hey, I recognize you. You're the one that they did that to. Why did they do that?" And I was really angry, the kid said. And so I talked to him for a little bit. I think I told him about the podcast. I don't know if he ever listened. If you ever did listen, I'm sure he didn't. But if you ever did, let me know. Get in touch with me. But so I said, "No, I don't want you to cash me out." And I started walking out the door. And I was almost to the door, and I thought, why waste this opportunity to make a big deal? I started walking through the casino ranting, "I can't believe you guys are banning me because I won money. This is what you do when you have people who win money? You're going to ban people who win money? I can't believe this." I'd walk up to people and talk to them. One of them actually used to play professional football, and I thought he was a friend of mine, but I don't think he ever talked to me. Actually, he did maybe talk to me once after that. I invited him to a thing my kids were doing where it was like an anti-bully club, and he spoke at it. But other than that, that was the last contact I had with him. And he had his own system where he would play craps and play the don't, and he would hide money, which I didn't know was called rat holing at the time. He would hide money, and when he'd run out of money at the table, then he would go and get a cash advance, and then he would run out again, go get another cash advance. So it looked like he lost all that money, but meanwhile his wife was cashing all his chips for him at night, and nobody knew his wife because she didn't play. So anyway, they walked me to the cashier, and the cashiers were shocked. And later on, I saw some of the cashiers at other casinos, and I talked to them, and they're like, "Yeah, they never tell us why, but we knew that you were banned. Your picture was up and all this stuff." And so, definitely I could not have come back in there. But that's what happened there. That was my back off. And did I see it coming? I saw it coming. I knew it was coming. I made $99,000 off the casinos, and I was rat holing also. And the casinos had me down as making like $40,000 or something like that, and they still backed me off. Would I have done anything different? I probably would have stopped playing for some time, or only gone to people who didn't know me. I don't know how much longer I would have lasted. I have a feeling it wouldn't have made a difference anyway. If it was a casino that didn't already know me, that would have been different. But since they did know me, there's not much I could have done. I guess in the last couple days, I would have probably hit them for a huge amount of money if I had known the day that it was going to be. But I knew it was coming for a couple weeks, and it didn't come, so I would have lost that money potentially. So, I don't know. What else could I possibly have done? So, just getting here to work. It's pretty loud out here, actually. One of my workmates is leaving. I don't know. Hopefully everything's okay. But, yeah, what more could I have really done? So, I think I lasted as long as I could have under the circumstances, and made as much money as I could have under the circumstances. And I think the way that I do things has kept me under the radar now for 4.5 years at other places. And I think it's something that works, and people say that's not the way to do it. But I really feel like I have a system here that works. I have a tolerant area also, so that may be part of it as well. So anyway, gonna let you go for now, and I'll be back to update you. All right, guys, I am back. So let me give you an update here. What's going on? I am just leaving work, heading off to the casino, take a look around, see what we can do as far as slots. As it turns out, my manager is out this week, and the only meeting I have for the rest of the day is with my manager. So I thought, hey, what a great opportunity to go out of town on a Tuesday, which I normally don't do. Then it hit me. I've got a meeting at 4 o'clock that's not related to work that I can't miss. And this is an unusual meeting. It never happens, but it happens to be today. Happens to be at 4 o'clock. I can't miss it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the casino. We're going to play some slots. And then we're going to go play some poker. So hopefully make some money playing poker. I'm going to verify that the meeting is this afternoon at 4. And if it is, then we'll go do that. If it's not, then we'll continue on to another casino. But I'm 99% sure that it's today. So but that's what's going on right now. We are heading out to the casino, and another hot day, clear skies, beautiful day. I mean, if you like the heat, this is your day. Right now, 90 degrees, feels like 99 with a high today. Feels like 104. So anyway, heading out. I'll be back. All right, guys, I am back. That place pretty much had nothing. I did play one machine and ended my session. I had $39, but they did open up some machines that were locked down for a while. One of them was borderline on a new game, and I don't really know for sure if I got their exact entry point. My track record is not great on that one, so I held off on there, waiting for it to get a little bit better before I play it. And then I saw a friend of mine when I was in there I hadn't seen for a while, and talked to him for a while and got caught up and stuff. I was glad to see him, so that was all good as well. At this point, I have 20 minutes before the poker club opens up. I'm going to head that way. Should take me about that long to get there anyway, 25 minutes, and then we'll play some poker here for a while and see how the day goes, and then tomorrow will be a big one. So heading out to the poker club, plus $39 at that one stop for the day, and I'll be back to update you. All right, guys, I am back, and I had a good time. Did well, had a good time. I got there right as they opened, and went in, bought in for $300, and there's a guy that I know, real nice guy, and I'm like, oh man, he's gonna be at my table. That's gonna limit like my possibility of making money. But he was buying in for another game. They had another game, a 25-50 pot limit 4-card or 5-card Omaha. Is that mind-blowing or what? 25-50 pot limit 4 or 5-card Omaha? My God. Can you imagine? They're telling me that right now, on average, pre-flop, it's $8,000 to see the flop. $8,000 to see the flop. It is in the pot, I mean. $8,000 pot to see going into the flop. Unbelievable. Anyway, so it's a $10,000 minimum buy-in, rebuys of $5,000 or more. And there was a lot of action going on over there. There was a lot of big hands. I could hear them talking about it and stuff. But how did you do, MW? Why do you care about other people? Worry about yourself. So let's talk about some hands. I actually took some notes this time because I felt bad last time. I was having a good time, didn't take any notes, didn't take any pictures or anything. Buy in for $300. They give you a $10 gift card for coming in, and it's a flat fee, so you pay $25 to play, or 30 or something like that, and then there's no rake, so you save tons of money, right? I mean, even if it's $30 at like 5 winning hands, and you're already ahead. So all right, so let's see. First hand, I have King Queen, and I played this one wrong. I have King Queen offsuit. I'm on the button, 7 to call. Should have raised it, or should have called. I called, and big blind makes it 22, so saved me by making it 22. And the flop, I have King Queen or Jack Queen, and the flop is Queen Queen Jack. So I flopped the nuts basically. Not basically, I flopped the nuts, and small blind checks, big blind checks. I make it 30. Everybody folds. Stupid. Why would I raise? I should have checked. So that's that. Next hand, I have 8-9 on the hijack. There are 4 players in at $17, including me. So four to the flop. I've got 8-9. The flop is Queen 10 Jack, just like that. So I have a straight, but it's kind of hidden, right? Not really, I guess, but I've got the low end of the straight. So if it was 17 pre-flop, that's 68 in the pot. I make it 35, and I have 3 callers. The turn is an 8, so now any 9 gets somebody there, like me. But now any 9 king ace beats me. I make it 70. I get 2 callers, and then the river is a 2, so nothing changes. I make it 70. I have 1 caller. I win. It's a $400 pot. Next hand, I have a King 9 of diamonds, and the flop is 4, 5, 6 with 2 diamonds. Okay, that's good. The guy, okay, so it was heads up. No, it was 3 people in there. Pre-flop, it was $20, and I have King 9 suited. I called. The flop is 4, 5, 6 of diamonds, 2 diamonds. So now I have a flush draw, second nut draw. The problem is the guy who made it 20 is a nut player. He's playing aces, kings, ace king, ace queen, sometimes ace jack, aces, kings. You know, that's all he really plays. So the turn is the jack of diamonds. So now I have the second nut. So the only way I'm going to lose is someone has an ace of diamonds with another diamond, right? There's no straight flush out there. He makes it 70. 1 caller, and then I called, and then the river is an ace of clubs, and he makes it 100. I call it. I win the hand. He has ace jack, so he got 2 pair on the turn and river. He got a jack and a ace for 2 pair, and I win. Now if the ace of diamonds was on the board, totally different, right? I'm raising his $100 raise on the river, but I couldn't do that. That was another $400 pot. And the last one, I have Queen 9 of hearts, and the flop comes 8 Jack 4 all hearts. So the guy makes it 10. I call. Turn, he makes it 10. I call. River, he makes it 10. I call. I only call because there was something else on the board. So I just called all the way through and ended up winning that pot. That one was $150 pot. So overall, I ended up ahead $853. Bought in for $300, out for $1153. So all that's good. Happy. I was going to go back to the casino because it's a little bit early, but not that early. So I'm not going to risk missing my meeting. So I'm going to head home, make sure my laptop is charged for the meeting, and then I'll head out for that. And at this point, I could go back to the club and play more blackjack tonight. And I'll tell you why it's a possibility. Although it'll be like 7 o'clock before I finish with my meeting, maybe later. Tomorrow is going to be a really bad day. Usually Wednesday is like my best day. The least number of meetings usually. I'm fresh. Sunday night into Monday morning, I'm tired. Tuesday, I'm going to still be a little bit tired. But Wednesday, usually I'm in good shape. But tomorrow, I have 5 things going on tomorrow. So I'm going to be driving 450 miles tomorrow, and I have 5 things going on. I have to run a monthly report, which I can do no problem. That's easy. I have a 10 o'clock training session for an hour. An hour? Are these people kidding me? And I'm running the training. So 10 to 11, I'm busy. 11 to 12, I'm busy. There's a training session for an hour. And then, 1 to 2, there's another meeting for an hour. And then 2:30 to 3, I have a half-hour meeting. Wow. 1, 2, 3.5 hours of meetings. That means if I get to my first casino by 9, I can go 9 to 10, and then 10 to 11, I can't do anything. 11 to 12, depending on what's going on with that meeting, I might be able to drive. And then in that case, I might be able to play from 12 to 1, and then from 2 to 2:30, which is not much. And then, man, so now I got to think this over. Is it even worth going on a long trip like that? Well, I'm going to have a third of my day, half my day gone. I'm going to spend 7 hours plus driving, about 8 hours driving, and 3.5 hours in meetings. That means if I leave at 6 a.m., I get back at 6 p.m. I'd only get 3 hours. Is that right? No, I'd get 0 time. We're gonna have to figure something out, because I'm not doing 0 hours of play tomorrow, so we'll have to figure something out. Thursday's a lot lighter. I only have a 1-hour engineering meeting, and then Friday I only have a 1-hour meeting that will probably be canceled. So we'll see. Unfortunate. I didn't think it was that bad. I really thought that one of those meetings was one that I put on my calendar to keep people from adding meetings, but it's not. So yeah, that's what's going on right now. I am heading toward home. Probably, I think we have something to eat at home. Get something to eat, and then head out to my meeting, and then I'll be back. We may extend this episode for some poker. I'll be back. Alright guys, I am back, and it's looking more and more like I'm probably going to go play some more poker tonight. Tomorrow is just looking worse and worse. So we'll see what happens. I'm heading out to my meeting right now. I can't believe how hot it is out here. I really, this is absolutely stifling. It's temperature in my house can't keep up. It's been running for over 40 hours straight and can't keep up. Right now it feels like is 103, and looks like supposedly the next day or two it's going to get better. I hope so. The thing I'm worried about is with this car, if I am stuck somewhere in a parking lot for 3.5 hours in meetings, is the car going to overheat or shut down or have a problem? And am I going to put myself in danger by being out in this heat in a car that may have a problem? So I got to think about that. Looks like Wednesday in the 90s, Thursday in the 90s, Friday in the 90s, Saturday 90s, Sunday 90s. So yeah, it's not going to get any better anytime soon. So we'll see. But right now I'm heading out to my meeting, and then I'll be back and let you know if I go play poker or not. Alright guys, I am heading home, and I just want to tell you about something I'm working on here that I can't figure out how to make it work. So as you know, my kids and I collect coins, mostly me, and the 2025 pennies are out, and I can't find a single 2025 penny. I would like to get a box of them. If anyone knows how I can get a box of brand new 2025 pennies or many boxes, whatever I can get, I would like to get them. So I don't know if someone lives in Philadelphia or somewhere that they mint them and it's easier to get them there, or what we can do, but I'm looking for a way to get a box or more of 2025 pennies. Doesn't matter if it's Denver, Philadelphia, whatever. I'm looking for them. So help me out. Help me find a way without going and paying hundreds of dollars for them. So let me know what you think if you know anything about that. But heading home right now. Stopped by the dollar store, picked up some stuff that I need for the week, and gonna go hang out with the family for a little bit. Probably have some dinner, and then probably head to the poker club tonight. And I'll be back. Alright guys, I am back and we are heading off to the poker club. So we are going to play tonight. There is a tournament that just started and I'll get there before the break. It's kind of a weird tournament. It does have one free add-on, like a rebuy, one free rebuy. And then you can also, if you've already used that free rebuy, then you can pay for a rebuy. So it's a $100 tournament. And we may play that. We'll see how many people are in and what the situation is when we get there. I did put myself on the list as well. I'm 5th on the list of players, so people busting out of the tournament might get in, or if it looks like it's going to take forever, might just play a tournament for $100 and see what we can do with it. So yeah, that's what's going on right now, and I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I am back. That was pretty good actually. Trying to remember what time it was when I got here. I think it was like, I don't know, do you guys remember? Let me see here. 7:48, 7:55 I got here. So you can sign up to be on the list online. I did that. I was 5th, and then I was about 8 or 10 minutes away, and they sent me the message, you have 5 minutes to take your seat, we have a seat for you, all that. So I waited a couple minutes and sent a reply that I was on my way, and came in. Seat was waiting for me, sat down, bought in for 300. Things were going pretty good at first. Like right away I was up a couple hundred, and just hanging. Everything was good. Ran into a few bad hands, but toward the end things got better. I got to see a friend of mine that I haven't seen in a while. I saw him once like a month ago, and other than that it had been a few years since I saw him. So we'll kind of go through a couple hands here if you're interested. The first thing I want to talk about was the dealer, that one of the dealers that was dealing to me this afternoon. She was at my table and she was bleeding money like crazy, rebuying for 100, lose, rebuying for 100, lose. And she basically, anytime she had a queen or higher, would shove pre-flop, and just got killed. She had nothing going right for her at all. So I saw her lose probably 500. I don't know how much she makes in a day dealing. I would suspect probably, I don't know, at this place probably $80 an hour. She did deal that big game earlier too, so she might have gotten some big tips on that, since there were a lot of $15,000 and $20,000 pots in that game. So maybe people were tipping quarters. I have no idea, but it's, you know, anyway. Let's see. First hand I want to talk about. Let's see. I have a king, and the flop is a 3-4-6. Right? Yeah. Flop is. Okay, sorry. Oh, okay, yeah. So no, I've got jacks, and the flop is 3-4-6, and then king. So I've got 2 pair, and the other guy had 5-7. So I lost the minimum on that one, really. I only lost 125 on that one. And then there was one hand where there was 4 of us in the hand. Someone made it 20, and then 2 other people called, and I made it 80, and then 2 people folded, and 1 person called. He went all in, which was only 116 more. So the pot was 273, and I had pocket kings, and he showed an ace, but he wouldn't show his other card, and the kings held, so that was 243, 273. And then I had a Jack 10, and the flop was Jack 4-2. I called 20 pre-flop with the Jack 10. The flop is Jack 4-2. I bet 50. There's one other guy in the hand. He calls. The turn is a 5. I bet 100, and he folds after thinking about it for a long time. And it turns out he has ace 3. Shows the ace 3. Because on the turn there was a 6. Right, let's see here. 20 pre-flop. I bet 50 on the flop, and then on the turn I bet 100. But on the turn was a 6, so it looked like I could have a higher straight. He had ace 2, 3, 4, 5, but on the board was 2, 4, 5, 6, and he thought that I had the higher straight and folded. I really couldn't believe that one. I saw kind of a disgusting hand here right before I left. Guy in front of me, he's in seat 1, I'm in seat 4. He's got pocket kings, and the flop is 3, 6, 5 with 2 spades. The turn is the king of spades. So he went from leading with a pair of kings to losing to the other guy who had spades. And then the river, so he had kings. It was ace. There was an ace in there on the flop, so I don't know which card was an ace, but so he has there was a flop. Sorry, the ace came on the turn, which put the flush on the board, and then the king came, which gave him a full house, which beat the somehow, I don't know. I guess the flop was, I don't know. So basically, he was leading, and then he was losing to a flush, and then he won on the river with a full house. I got the hand wrong. It wasn't my hand, so I didn't take a picture or write it down or anything, but that was hard to see, because the card that gave him the 3 kings gave the other guy a flush, and then the river, that's what it was. The river was an ace, which gave the other guy, gave him a full house. So whatever. Anyway, it was good. It was an easy table for me. I didn't have a hard time with these people, even though some of them were aggressive. They were younger people, and I had some equity. I mean, a lot of the hands that I showed were pretty much the nuts. They were face cards, they were pairs, things like that. And I did get a couple hands through that were bluffs, and I got caught a couple times on bluffs, but they were smaller amount of money. And overall, I was there for 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I ended up leaving ahead $399. So plus $399 more. We had a good session this morning of 800 and something, a little slot session. So we made what, $1,200-1,300 today. Not bad for a stay close to home day. Right now we're heading home. It's about 10:40 right now as we're heading home, and we're going to get some sleep, get up in the morning. I don't know how I'm going to manage it, but I'm just going to go through my day like I normally would. I'm going to leave real early and we're going to get a slot session in. Then we're going to do some meetings, and then we're going to drive and get at least one, maybe two blackjack sessions in, and that may be all we can do for the day, but it's better than staying home and not being able to make any money. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go, we're going to try, and if we're running low on time and we need more time, we can call home and get the additional time that we need, or still come home and see the kids before they go to bed. But we're going to make some money tomorrow. So let's do our segments quickly. What did you eat today, MW? I actually had Chipotle. I had a salad with chicken on it. It was good. It was done right. Everything was good with that. Got a little stain on my shirt, so I had to change my shirt earlier. But, you know, I'm a little sloppy sometimes. It's kind of drippy. And then went home right before my meeting, and my wife had grilled some chicken breast, so I'm going to have some of that when I get home as well. So the Chipotle, I'd give like a 9 on a scale of 2 through ace. It was still a little bit wet for me. And chicken breast, I give a 10 on a scale of 2 through ace. And what did you tip today, MW? And so when we're playing poker, it's a little different story, right? You're going to be tipping a lot. So depending on the hand, I tipped $1 or $2. My biggest hand was like $400 or so, $450 maybe. Tipped $2 on that. And then I did tip $5 on one hand that was it was like a free hand, and the winner would get $100. Oh no, it was I didn't win that. They had the first 3 flushes of the day that uses both cards in your hand would get $100, and I hit the last one of the day, so I tipped the dealer $5 on that. I think that's reasonable. You know, it's that's our money anyway, because they drop money every hand, like $1. I think maybe $2 out of every hand that goes into that, and then they'll have some specials every once in a while. But giving away $300 a day is pretty nice. But you have to get there early. You know, they open early, and by like the first 2 hours, that's gone. Even though there's only 1 or 2 tables going at that time, within a couple hours, all those are gone. And they do have pots where at twice a day, if you're at a table and there's at least 5 people playing, they'll do a free hand for $100. So that's nice too. So definitely worth it. And I got that free gift card for $10 this morning as well. Gave that to the wife already, and we're good. So, and what did you learn today, MW? I learned that I may not be as bad at poker as I think. But when I play with these high caliber players that are playing big money and pushing people around, you know, I may not be, I don't know, I may not be as bad as I think. I just can't hang with those guys because they're playing with a lot more money than I want to play with for this game. This is not my game, so I don't want to be risking, you know, thousands of dollars on one hand. So, you know, I get out of those people's way, or if there's a lot of them on the table, then, you know, maybe I'll leave. You know, it's not, you want to be the one, you want to feel like you're one of the top players on the table, not one of the players that has to luck out in order to win. So, and I kind of felt that way this afternoon. There were a couple really good players this afternoon, but I felt good. And then this evening also, there was, I don't know, maybe one good player at the table this evening, and we did good. So we did well. So that's going to be it for now. I'm going to let you go, and we'll catch up tomorrow. If you have any questions or comments, my email is mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.